everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel Bird's Eye Stitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here then welcome. I hope you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do, and if you are returning then still welcome. Clearly you are here because you have a love of cross stitch just like I do. Today is Sunday, it is February 1st. We have officially gone through the month of January and landed in February. Woo woo, we made it. I need a haircut. I love shorter hair, but I hate that it grows this quickly because now my bangs are forever in my face, so we'll figure that out. Anyway, all right, so last month I made it a goal for this year. My 2026 word is consistency, and part of that is wanting to jump on and film every single week. Now there might be a couple weeks where I am traveling, yada yada, but for the most part, every week. And I completed that goal for January. We are now in February and I hope to keep it going strong. So with that, I've got all kinds of stuff to show because, you know, consistency at all. Been getting some stitching in, not as much last week as week before, but still we got some stitching. So I have some stitching. I have an FFO, the plans because it's a new month, which means all of the new monthly challenges are getting started, so we will jump right into it. All right, we have the notes and plans book. Here we go, right here. Trying to keep old Squatch from climbing up on my lap here. You saw just her tail. At next week's video, she will have a haircut, which she is also in the need of. Both of us have hair that grows way too fast. All right, so notes and plans. This is where I write down comments from my previous video that I wanted to highlight, answer any questions, as well as remind myself to do my Flosstube shout out. So over in my last video from last week, I had a comment from Norma Jean, and Norma Jean is not alone in this. So Norma Jean was talking about how where she lives in Delaware, she has snow, ice, and it was 20 degrees. Now I know 20 degrees is probably warm in comparison to some people. Just yesterday on the Magazine Monthly Challenge Zoom call, we had some people on that call from Alaska where it is way colder than 20 degrees. So I know that that may not sound cold to some of you, but for me, who is blessed to live in sunny Arizona where it is literally 75 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky, I would not mesh well with 20 degrees. So I am thinking very warm thoughts for you, Norma Jean, and for everyone else. Stay warm, stay safe, stay stitching. Hopefully you gathered all of your supplies and can just bundle up in a blanket, and if you don't have to go to work, that part sounds glorious. So. I also had a comment from Stitchin' with Lou, which this made me laugh. It is a small world of Flosstube, yet also a big world. But so Stitchin' with Lou is the Stitchin' bestie of Katie, who is from Jeremiah's mom. If you watch Jeremiah's mom, Flosstube, hi Katie, it is fabulous. But she always talks about her Stitchin' bestie, and I did not know that that was Stitchin' with Lou. Crazy. So I feel like I have a secondhand celebrity because I hear about her all the time. And she also comments on my channel, so that's awesome. Anyway, Stitchin' with Lou, I know I've shouted out one of her comments before, but she had a good recommendation, so I wanted to make sure to share this. So in my last video, I talked about how my husband had a doctor's appointment and I made a rookie mistake and forgot to bring scissors in my travel piece for the doctor's office. She says that she carries around nail clippers, which is genius. Now, fun fact about Robin here, I actually don't carry a purse, typically. I don't know, I like to have my hands free and don't like things touching me, I don't know. I never carry a purse. I carry a backpack for work and I carry all of the things that I need, my cards and such, in my cell phone. Like I have a cell phone wallet case, call that a day. So I don't know where I would put them, but it does make sense if I was traveling and whatnot, you know, like really traveling with suitcases and all that. Nail clippers, genius. So if anybody else does that, let me know because I need to try it, see how it works. So those are the comments on my last video. So thank you, Norma Jean and Stitchin' with Lou. And then as far as, I use this seam ripper as a bookmark, and now it's become like a pointer as I talk. So the Flosstuber that I went to point out is Megan from MJ Stitches 23. Hi, Megan. I watched her planning video that she just posted. Number one, Megan is an actual ray of sunshine. So if you watch her channel, be prepared for high energy positivity. Megan is part of the Magazine Monthly Challenge group. She's always on our Zoom calls. And from the first time that she hopped on the Zoom call, she was just a full-on ray of light. She was brand new to stitching, jumped in with both feet. She like dyes her own fabric, tries all the things. I think like her second or third piece was a full-on like Haid, full coverage, something or other. Yeah, both feet. But she is fantastic, and if you can jump on her channel and watch, she just did a planning video where she has a love of stickers, I have discovered, which is awesome. I also love stickers. So yeah, check her out. And that is my Flosstube shout out. All right, this one's going away. Putting away my seam ripper / pointer. So I actually used this for the first time in my entire life. I mean, I've frogged before, but usually it's like 1 or 2 stitches because I despise frogging. I'll usually just make it work. But one of the prompts for Bringo was to work on something that you had to frog, or if you didn't have anything, something green, right? I had something I had to frog, and I finally did it. So when I get to that piece, I will show you, but this is not that easy. Like I probably could have watched a YouTube video on how to use this. I thought it would be simple, and I mean, it is, but it's also not. Like I stick by the idea that I do not like to frog. Putting this one away now. Okay, first thing on my pile. Very, very top is actually an FFO. So for 2026, I've got lots of focuses. They're all attainable, but I have a lot of focuses. But one of the things is I have a whole, like most stitchers, right? I have a whole bunch of finished pieces in a box for me under the bed. And I have a wall here that I need to continue to add birds to. It only has 4 pieces up there for now. And I have pieces that are done just waiting on a frame. So I would like to get those things all framed up. I can practice my own framing. None of them are big, huge, crazy pieces. They're all completely manageable, and they're all pieces that I can, you know, get better at framing at myself. So last week I showed you a frame that I got at Home Goods, something, I don't know. I found a frame on sale that was really pretty, and I had a feeling that it would fit a piece from Lindy Stitches. So I dug that piece out from under my bed, and it does. So this is, okay, I did not pull out what chart this was. I'll have to look it up and put it in the comments. But this was an old chart from Lindy Stitches. It came with a whole kit. I think you were supposed to finish it in some type of a box or something else. I did not do that, clearly, but it did fit in the frame, and it did turn out really nice. Ta-da! So I'm working on my framing, but it's a little low. In a perfect world, I would have raised it just a teeny tiny little bit, but overall, I really think it turned out cute. If I was following the pattern correctly, I should have put my initials here in the big wing, but I think I was watching Flosstube, or I just wasn't paying attention, and then I noticed that I had already stitched over the section that would have had my initials. I thought about going in afterwards, but I don't know. I like it. I think it's great. So this piece will not go on the bird wall, even though it is a bird, just because of the type of enamel frame it's in. This, I think, is better suited for my office. So I'm going to bring this one to work with me and put it on a desk. Anne, hi Anne, if you're watching, I got something framed, therefore you should follow. Trying to inspire other folks to frame some pieces, or fully FFO them in whatever way you know how. This is my level of creativity at this time. We'll see what happens by the end of the year, but for now, I can find a frame that will fit it and put it in the frame. But it turned out really nice. I couldn't get the glass to fit once I just put this on some cardboard backing and laced the back. I'm trying to practice the lacing in a small, attainable way, so that's why I didn't move it around afterwards. But yeah, after I did all that, the glass didn't fit, which is just fine with me. So that is that. Stitching. Stitching is next. I wish I could easily pick up my phone and show you this pile in front of me, but I can't. But it's a pretty good size. All right, first piece I was gonna show you is my 25/7 piece. So for 25/7, the idea is that you stitch on a piece for 25 minutes a day and see what type of progress you can make. So I like to choose a piece that is a new start or something that is close to a finish. For this one, it was my New Year new start. So at the beginning of the month, it was just a piece of fabric. I stitched on this piece all but 5 days total, which is pretty good for me for the entire month of January. So I made a lot of progress. All right, this is Sweet Wing Studios Far Better Things. Will one day look sort of like this. Again, this was a new start for January. Mine is stitched on a piece of 25 count Opal Lugana in the color Through the Stones by Stitch Me. It is out of the Q-snap because this piece is not on my list for the month of February. So if I'm not going to stitch on it anymore for the month, I take it out of the Q-snap, show it, and then I get it put away. But this was my progress. Ta-da! I did not get nearly as much progress on this last week as I did the week before. So my daughter, I have her every other week. My ex-husband and I, we switch off. And typically on the week that I have my daughter, which would have been this week, by the time I'm done working and pick up and drop off and all of that jazz, my amount of stitch time and energy to making dinner and all that, typically I get a lot of stitching done every other week. But I still got stitching done most days, just not so much on this one. But that is where we're at. Again, this one will go away for the month of February. It will come back out here in the near future. Once this one is done, this one will also go to my work. But I love the amount of progress that was made. It's a really pretty piece. I also found that I really like stitching on this opalescent, what was this one? Ada? Lugana. I stitched on an opalescent even weave semi-recently and didn't really love it. But the Lugana, I think because it was a little bit larger and a little bit stiffer, the opal didn't throw me off quite as much. So I really like that one. But you will see this in the future. It will be put away for now. Next up are some pieces that I worked on for Bringo. So when I get to my planner, because it's kind of buried, I will show you how we did on that. I did not get through all of the prompts, but I did better than I have done in the past. So I will take that as a win. I'm moving this stuff out of the way in case Squatch wants to hop back up here. All right, so for Bringo, Bringo is a month-long challenge that is run in the magazine monthly challenge group, which is something that I run with my friend Carolyn, Seasick Stitch. Hi, Carolyn. I'll put a link to the Facebook group in the description, so you can click on that if you would like to join. But it's just a fun group. The focus started because of the idea of having so many magazines full of cross stitch that no one ever stitches from, but there is no rule that says you must stitch from a magazine. For me, I like to stitch on at least one magazine piece a month. So I usually use it as my theme piece, but then everything else, I just try to make progress on whatever it is I'm stitching on. So anyway, for Bringo, I had two pieces that I had to do some makeup stitches on. So I pulled out what do we work on here? The porcupine and From Velvet to Linen. So first up was the Primitive Hares Hedgehog, which is part of the Woodland Stitchy Friends series, I guess, I'm assuming. I need to see what else is in this series, but anyway, it will look like this. There are a number of people stitching this adorable little guy. I had 2 calls left for this. So I am stitching mine in the called for colors, which is a mix of Weeks Dye Works and DMC. And then I'm stitching mine on a piece of Be Stitch Me fabric, a 16 count Aida in the color Meadows. It's a really pretty green. So I had 2 leftover prompts, so only 2 hours and just a little bit of progress. You're starting to see the outline of the face of the little hedgehog here. I got a little bit more done in the browns. Looks like that. So making slow but steady progress. This hedgehog you are going to see a lot because this is actually going to be my 25/7 piece for next month. Because I truly feel that if I use this with my 25 minutes a day, I think I might get a finish. I really think that. Carolyn, let me know what you think. Am I over exaggerating or overestimating that? We'll see. But all that is left, right? I've got some more greenery to do up in this corner, the rest of this border, and I cross my fingers it's going to match. I got the faith. And then we've got the back of the hedgehog, and then this whole fill-in. There's a couple little doodads sprinkled around. But I mean, that 25 minutes a day, it can be done. I have the faith. That is it. This is a really fun piece. If you find this, I love the colors, and I just love I think hedgehogs are in because I'm seeing a lot of pieces with hedgehogs right now. Hedgehogs are not a favorite animal of mine, but they are adorable. But just how cute is any animal working on a cross stitch in a hat? That's adorable. Next up, I had to make up a couple of squares on From Velvet to Linen. So, moving this so it doesn't fall. I had 3 squares to make up. 2 of them were regular prompts, so 100 stitches each, and then 1 of them was the prompt about work on something you have to frog. So I had to frog this piece. All right, this is From Velvet to Linen by Kathy Barrick. Looks like this. And I am stitching mine on a piece of 28 count even weave in the color Deep Fried by Fortnite Fabric. If you can hear in the background, my husband is washing the car and he's using the vacuum. So I don't know if that's gonna come across or not. We're gonna find out when I play this back. Anyway, From Velvet to Linen, Kathy Barrick, Fortnite Fabric, color Deep Fried. This piece seems to take me forever. There's a lot of counting. Once I get around the outline, we get to fill in, we should be fine, but here we are. So we have, I don't remember if I had this part in here done or not, but the light pink, the super light pink, there's actually 3 different colors within this flower. Then I started the outline to this flower up above it. There's also a leaf going on up here that I started the outline for. I just need to finish the black here, and then it's a really deep red that goes in against this black, which will be pretty. This is where I had to frog, which I know this doesn't look like much, but like, this took like 40 minutes for me. Again, I don't frog often, but I probably should have watched the tutorial. I tried to use the little tool, this guy, and so I would like run it across and the seam ripper and I would pull it, but then there was all these little fluffies and we got there. So I now need to find a yellow that I like better, because the yellow that I picked, it just blended in way too much with the outline, and you can see here This is supposed to be this flower, so it needs to be a much lighter yellow. But this shade is not any of the shades that are within the blue. So trust me when I say I have plenty of things to choose from. I just need to get in and pull some different flosses from my bucket and see what works. That is that. This is a piece that I am stitching for my stepdaughter, so I did not want to leave it. It's such a huge flower and it's right in the center, so I didn't want to just leave it the way that it was. So I am actually really glad that we had that prompt. It inspired me to do some frogging, and now this will be ready to go. You will see it again this next month because it is one of the letters for my acrostic for Magazine Monthly Challenge. Okay, that brings us into plans. Before I get into plans, I did mention that there was going to be a giveaway on this video. So before I show it, I know that there are some videos floating around from last year where at least one person won a giveaway, and do not even ask me where that giveaway item is because I've moved so many times and never made it to the post office. So if you are one of those people, okay, I think there's one, maybe two, but still, if you are one of them and you had won something and did not get anything, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to start over with this year and try the giveaways again because I have charts. And last month I was focused on doing a video once a week. And this month I'm focused on the connection with the Flosstube viewers. One of those connections is the giveaways because I find that fun. So I'm going to show what the giveaway item is at the end of the video, but I'm going to say what the word is. Okay, to be fair, I'm going to say what the word is at the end too. But what the word is, I'm going to share with you now. So the word for the giveaway is prim, P-R-I-M. So if you might be interested, write it down or watch at the end and I'll tell you again. But the word is going to be prim. And I had to say that now before I turned the page. To be honest, I would have kind of forgotten. So word is prim, watch for the giveaway towards the end of the video. Okay, back to plans. Breaking out the planner. My little Bringo guy. So Megan, if you watch her channel, she uses a lot of stickers in her planning. I am gonna break out some stickers for this next month. I think that'd be really fun instead of the X's. And you can see from here, oh, I forgot to cross out a couple. I missed two. Still, I only got one bingo, a couple almost bingos, and I did all but 5 prompts. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I will take that as a win. Last month I also finished my WIPGO because for WIPGO they chose Spring Forest Scrapbook and Jack Frost Tree Farm. I completed my 5 hours on both of those, 5 hours of 500 stitches. And I stitched on all of the pieces for at least 1 hour for my Bringo board, which is pretty good. I like that too. All right, with that said, moving into February plans. So plans for February for Magazine Monthly Challenge. For Magazine Monthly Challenge, we have 2 things going on in February. There's of course our normal acrostic. So for the acrostic, the theme is folklore. I'm sorry. For the theme, it is folklore, and the acrostic is Kazki. Carolyn, I should have confirmed with you how to say this. I don't think I watched your video yet for this week. I think you pronounce it as Kazki. K-A-Z-K-Y. Phonetically, that's what that says. So and then the second thing we have going is we do have a pop-up challenge. So the pop-up challenge this month is February with a PH, February fill-in. It is based off of Groundhog Day, which is tomorrow. It comes, at least I feel like it's coming super early this year. So February fill-in, Groundhog Day, which I think is a US holiday, I hope. because I'm gonna feel really silly saying that, is February 2nd. And the idea is when the groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil or something like that, if he sees his shadow, hold on, I had to write this one down. If he sees his shadow, that means we're gonna have 6 more weeks of winter. If he does not see his shadow, we're going to not have 6 more weeks of winter. So for everybody, I'm hoping that he does not see his shadow. But for the challenge, which starts tomorrow, we ask that you chose 2 pieces. One piece with like, you know, either prim or solo colors, and one piece that was bright or lots of colors. And then we had some feedback on the group where people wanted to choose either like a winter or a summer piece, or a like Christmas piece, or so again, very lenient, right? The whole idea is just, we just want you to get some stitches in. So so for me, I chose, well, I'll just show you what I chose as the options. I chose 2 pieces from a magazine that I have been working on. And which one I work on will depend on what the groundhog sees. So depending on if the groundhog sees a shadow or not, if he does see a shadow, then that means that you have to stitch on the winter piece or the prim piece. If he does not, then you're on the summer or the brightly colored, multicolored piece. So I chose, I will either be working on Quaker Posies, looks like this, kind of, mine looks nothing like that, but I chose Quaker Posies to work on if he sees his shadow, because it is just one color, and although it's kind of bright, it's a red, which like I associate red to like a red sampler, and I feel like a lot of prim stitchers have the red samplers. I don't know, it's probably a stretch, but it makes sense in my brain. So here is where I was at for that. So when it's all put away, ta-da! I think it goes like this. I don't know, something like this. So again, does not look like the spring Quaker Posies from the magazine, but I really like it. And I figured, because I'd be excited to work on this again, just because I'm getting near a finish. I don't really want any more winter, even though I know in Arizona we do need the moisture. I'd be okay with summer. So if it's not gonna be summer yet, according to the groundhog, and again, summer for Arizona, then at least I would get to work on this piece. So I'd be happy with that. And then if he does not see his shadow, I will be working on Signs of Spring, because we'll have Signs of Spring. Looks like this. And again, mine looks nothing like that. Mine looks like, mine is in a super bright Garan bag. I love this bag. One of my very favorites. How pretty are those birds? Okay. This one is not nearly as far along, but it's really pretty. Mine looks like this. So it's like sherbet on fabric. So either way, I will be very, very happy. We will know tomorrow which one of those I'm going to be stitching on. Okay. So one of those will be in my plans. Not sure which just yet. The pieces for my acrostic, I pulled those ones out as well. So at the end of the month, I put away everything that I'm done with and pull out everything that I'm going to be working on, because if it's not sitting right here next to me, 0% chance I'm actually gonna do it. So first one that I wanted to show, actually these two are for Whip Go. So we'll dive into Whip Go next, I guess. All right, Whip Go. So the numbers that were called this month for Whip Go were number 22 and number 5. So Number 22 for me was Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, and number 5 is Jack's Tree Farm. So Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. This was a piece that I started for Mania in like 2019 or 2020. I put in almost no stitches, and that's where it is sat. So I have this on my whip go board a couple of times. And well, you'll see this one in way more detail later. Oh, okay, I'm farther along than I thought on this one. Still not super far, but still. I'm on my very first square, and we're here. This is being stitched on a huge piece of Be Stitch Me Lugana, a 32 count Lugana in the color S'mores, and it's a half yard. So like, look. This fabric is gorgeous. Just the fabric alone makes me excited to work on this piece. So this will come out at some point this month. It is, again, I do 5 hours or 500 stitches for each call. So that's Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. And the other one you recently saw, because I worked on this one this last month, everything's on the board at least twice, and so this will be the second time this one's been called. This is Jack Frost Tree Farm by Little House Needleworks. Stitching mine on a piece of Color and Cotton's 32 count Belfast in the color Requiem, which was a 2020 Fabric of the Month color. I'm currently working on this square, but we are here. And I'm gonna hold it up with the bag behind it. There we go. It's very wrinkly, but you can see we have the whole top piece done. I love the little people. I finished the square with the car last month. I also got the outline and the people with what I say is the freakishly tall dad. You all say that he looks normal. Maybe he does. I got that one done there last month. So I actually think that in 5 hours or 500 stitches that I can finish the second square. And I say this because there's just not a lot of stitching in that square. Truly, it's just the rest of the tree, and it's a sparse tree. Look, let's just break this out one more time. Okay, look. All right, so it doesn't look that sparse here, but it's just like 2 rows all the way down, and then I have some snowflakes. I still have the white to do on the people. So like okay, maybe not 5 hours, but maybe, it might be close. It might be close enough that it just stays out so I can get this thing finished. We'll see how we do. As far as which order I'm going to stitch them in, I'm not exactly sure, but I would like to get the work done on both of those this month. The order I stitch them in is probably gonna depend on the challenges from the Whip Warrior group that I'm in. I haven't looked through their February challenges to pick which ones I'm going to participate in, but I will I usually use these for those challenges because I do so many stitches for it. So I'm gonna kind of let them determine which order I do those ones in. So that was Whip Go. Next we have the pieces for the Magazine Monthly Challenge. So we have a short acrostic. I talked about in my last video how I was going to assign, because I was doing a focus on 26 different pieces for 2026, and it occurred to me that there's 26 letters in the alphabet, so I gave every piece a letter, which will help my acrostic immensely. I won't have to put too much thought into what it is I'm stitching. I'm just gonna strictly go off of what letter did I assign it and go from there. So, what do we have here? For my acrostic of Kazki, The letter K I've already shown you. K was for Kathy Barrick, and I chose From Velvet to Linen, so that is on my acrostic twice. The letter A is Autumn Flowers, which this is a really pretty piece. I get a lot of people that comment on this piece. So this is Autumn Flowers by Owl Forest Embroidery. Will look sort of like this one day. I have a long ways to go on this. This is on my acrostic only one time, letter A. Currently, it looks like. There we go. It currently looks like this. This piece is so pretty. It's off the Q-snap. Back just a little. So this piece is, it's obviously not on the called for fabric, but it does use the Owl Forest embroidery threads. My favorite part about Owl Forest embroidery kits is their beautiful thread. They are highly pigmented and highly variegated. So like some of these, I feel like I would probably never choose that color, like this weird sherbety color with all the rest of them. I'm not sure. But when it's all said and done, it all will blend together very, very nicely. And I just cannot get over this border. This border takes forever, but it is so worth it. Look how pretty that is. I honestly, if I have leftover threads, I will probably try to make a bookmark out of this border because it is that pretty. So only 2 hours. So my acrostic, I do 2 hours or 200 stitches. Since I'm in challenges now that actually count stitches, I've been trying to make sure that I count. So I'm going away from time and moving more towards stitch number. So 200 stitches for each of these. So you'll see this one come out. So that's my A. And then, so K is From Velvet to Linen by Kathy Barrick, A, Autumn Flowers, Z. Oh, I didn't pull Z. Z is going to be Scatter Kindness. It is a Hindsight pattern. And you've actually seen that one semi-recently. It was in my whip parade. So it is, it says Scatter Kindness, and then it's got dandelions. I had to look down at my arm. A piece of my tattoo is a huge dandelion in all the different stages. So I'm like, what is this flower? A dandelion. So the dandelion with all the fluff, so Scatter Kindness. That piece is nearing a finish also. Well, sort of. No, it's not. It's getting there. It's more than 50% done, which in my mind means it's nearing a finish. So I chose that one for the letter Z because, well, I was struggling to find something for the letter Z, and the maker Hindsight, that word, the Z sound, sticks out the most. So that became my letter Z for my letters. And then the letter Y, I chose Birds of a Feather because I didn't really have any pieces that started with Y either, but the color yellow really pops out in this piece. So Y is for yellow. This is Birds of a Feather. It is by Monarch Horizons. It is an older chart. This one here. If you've been with me for a while, you know the backstory on this piece. My ex-grandmother-in-law stitched this piece, and it's beautiful, and I own that piece. I also have inherited this chart, but she had not stitched the hummingbird side. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of hummingbirds. However, I decided it'd be a really nice tribute to stitch the other piece of this. So I am stitching mine on the same blue Aida, standard old blue Aida. And for a while, I was trying to stitch one bird every 2 weeks. So I had a new hummingbird to show, and I haven't really picked this piece up in a very long time, but it's coming back out for this acrostic. So we are here. Ta-da! I can hold this up properly. There we go. I have to do the back stitch as I go, because if I don't, then it's just never gonna get done. There's no back stitch on those bright yellow flowers per the design. Although I kind of wish there was, now that I'm looking at it, maybe from afar. Yeah, I kind of wish there was. We'll see what happens, but that is where we are on that one. So you will see this one come back out. I'm finally gonna get some stitches in on the next hummingbird. I'm actually really excited about that. And so yeah, we have a short acrostic, and which is good, because if it is a short acrostic, I have a much better chance at doing all of the things in the acrostic. The theme this month is folklore, and like I said, I like to use a magazine piece for the theme. And because I failed miserably at working on this piece during Bringo, I only worked on it for 2 squares, and because it is a focus piece for me this year, this piece is in all kinds of stuff. It's also very folklore, mythical-ish. I chose to work on the Majestic Unicorn, so this one will get 4 hours or 400 stitches. Just taking out the magazine that this comes from. Okay, this piece is from Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas from 2015. Looks like this. And it will one day look like this. It is a full coverage beast of a piece, but it's beautiful. And I have the itchiest nose today. I am this far along. So a little farther than this, but it's on the Q-snap, obviously. I got fill-in over here done over this last month, and a little bit of back stitch done. So 4 hours. I hope to work through all of this and finish the back stitching down here. See that one. Okay, so that is, with the exception of Whip Warriors, which I'm gonna try to use all of these pieces for. We'll see what happens there. But main focuses, of course, are Magazine Monthly Challenge, February fill-in, which starts tomorrow. If you're not part of the Magazine Monthly Challenge, I recommend joining. Do answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions, then we won't let you in the group. You'd be shocked by how many bots we have trying to join a dang cross-stitch group. So yeah, so just answer the questions. And then you can join the pop-up challenge because it starts tomorrow. So all of those, and then of course Whip Go and 25/7 will be the porcupine piece. Those are the main focuses. Let's talk giveaway. My haul is extremely tiny this week because if you saw my haul from a few weeks ago, I got plenty of haul to last me a very long time. But before we get to that, giveaway. So one of the things, it all looks so sad. I know, we'll go outside in a minute. She's giving me the sad eye. So anyway, one of the things that I got in the box from a few weeks ago is a chart that I actually already had. Because I had the chart marked as a favorites and I just forgot to take it off of the favorites list because I think I purchased this chart from Garan, and the favorites list that my family went off of to make that purchase was on Lindy Stitches. So therefore, I'm going to make it a giveaway item. So for this item, if this is something that you would like to stitch or that you would like to have in your collection, use the word prim. Yes, use the word prim. I will ship this anywhere, US, outside of the US, doesn't matter to me. I don't know when it'll get there, but eventually it will get there. We're gonna do this piece. So this is a beautiful, beautiful bird. I'm choosing the word prim because the colors are very, very light. So for me, that's kind of prim-esque. And it is the bird of Bordeaux. Bird of Bordeaux. It's a reproduction sampler by Annie Turner by The Proper Stitcher. I clearly love it enough that I have it twice, so I want to share it with one of you guys. So if this is something you would like to stitch, use that as your keyword. Don't use the word giveaway. Make sure that you are over 18 because I will need your address, of course, and I will do the drawing at next week's video. So you just have this week. There you go, minus the glare. All right, haul. I've got two things. Number one, as I've mentioned, I've gotten a lot of haul as of late. And even though I am stitching a lot more often, I clearly own more charts than any human could possibly stitch in a lifetime, as most of us do. So therefore, I had to get this chart. The Buying Cross Stitch Like I'm Immortal by Lucy Beam. I've seen a million people stitch this. Some people swap out the colors, some don't. It's amazing, but I have to stitch this just so I can put it over my stash on the wall because I find it hilarious and so extremely accurate. So this was my haul piece. And then I got Just Cross Stitch magazine in the mail. It doesn't have an address, okay. So I subscribed to this magazine and then I moved, and trying to get them to send it to the right address, even though I did an address change, has been slightly complicated, not gonna lie. But this one actually showed up, so I was really excited for that. I am not gonna do a flip through because, well, Carolyn from Czech Stitch does an amazing job at the flip throughs of these magazines. So Carolyn, can't wait to see your official flip through on this one. But I did mark just a couple of the charts that really stood out to me. This is a pretty good issue. I really like that they're moving to the quarterly issue with this magazine. I just feel like the charts have been so much better since they've done that. So first up, they are doing the year-long SAL. This year is called Tapestry of 12. At first, I will admit I didn't really love it, but then I started looking at it and I really, well, first let me show it to you. It looks like this. I like all the colors. I don't know. I was like, it's a lot of squares. It didn't jump out to me. But I'm changing my tune because each one of these has 12 squares, so that you could very easily do 1 square a week. And each square is using just one color. So for like different challenges or, you know, not a lot of color changes, it's like simple stitching that in the end would be really beautiful. And you could obviously choose any color you want for any of these. So I'm changing my tune. I want to stitch this. Who else wants to stitch this? I don't know when I want to start. I guess March, because February, I don't know, but maybe in March. Anybody? Let me know if you're stitching that one. The next one that really stood out to me, there's a lot in this book. So again, watch Carolyn's flip through. So this chart here, I don't really love the whole chart, but I really like the phrase, be bold, little coffee bean, be bold. I think I'm going to stitch just that and put that up at my work. I get coffee every morning and I walk around and say hi to people carrying my coffee cup. And there's lots of times where at my job, I have to be bold. And so I always like, it'd be a fun little reminder. So that would be good. Next one up is a bird, shocker. An adorable bird. It's another animal in a dang witch's hat. Is that like a thing this year? I don't know, but this is Fledgling's First Pick. How cute is that? And it's a yellow bird. Like, they literally were thinking, what are all of Robin's favorite things? Let's put them into a chart. Here you go. So that's gonna have to be stitched at some point. And last but not least, don't ask me why I like this one, but I do. It is Born to Snuggle. Ready? The dang dinosaur has eyelashes. Like, yeah, I don't know who needs this in their life. Megan, do you need this in your life? Do you need this for a tiny baby room, maybe? I don't know, but it's amazing. So those were the pieces that I highlighted. that I now have to re-highlight because I pulled them all out to show you. But anyway, that's what I got from that magazine. So, okay, that's it. Had an FFO, we had some stitches. A new 25/7 piece comes out today, so I got to get on that. Yeah, February 1st. Happy February. I hope January was glorious. I hope you have a great month. If you would like the giveaway, put the word in there because I got to get my butt to the post office, so I'm kind of excited for that. And I hope you all have a great week. Happy stitching, and I'll see you next weekend.